This week we'll be discussing Section 2 of the business plan. According to the syllabus and rubric, this will include text on your management team, operating strategies, and both internal and external critical risks. Let's start off with the management team. So just a quick overview of what to include under this heading. You'll need to list all of the key individuals in your company at startup. If you will be a solo person at startup and are planning on hiring more employees anywhere in the first 3 to 5 years, please include those as well. I'm looking for names of real people here who are in your network and would fit well into each of the jobs you list. They also need to fit well in your projected work environment and company culture. Who would you want to work for you in your company, and who do you trust helping to fulfill your company mission and vision? Please include a brief background on each individual. This could include education, relevant life experiences, career history, etc. It's pretty similar to the personal history you wrote about in Section 1 of the business plan. Also, the last point here is to explain why they will work well as a team and with your team. You also need to consider your personnel needs for customer service, sales, manual labor, etc. And finally, briefly describe the organizational structure for the business. Will you be the owner and manager of daily operations? Will you be a co-owner with a partner and have control over separate parts of the business? Okay, diving a little deeper, let's first talk about the internal key individuals. These are people who are going to be working in your business every day. They're there all the time and know the ins and outs of your business. These could include the owner, who's most likely you. They could also be a co-owner there if that's the structure you're looking into, kind of having a partner at startup. Also consider who will your manager or managers be. This, again, could be you or a partner or another individual entirely. Other internal individuals to consider and roles to delegate would be sales and support. Sales is pretty self-explanatory, but support could include any number of jobs, including delivery, cleaning, organizing, helping sales staff, customer service, and other production requirements. In an agriculture production business, for example, this could include people in charge of planting, fertilizing, irrigation, harvesting, etc. Also, of course, customize this list as necessary for your business idea. Okay, next, a few more points on the internal support staff who will fulfill your personnel needs. These may be seasonal or contract labor. Personnel may need to fluctuate with the time of year and the level of business. For example, as you grow from year to year, the internal support staff may need to expand. Some sources for seasonal workers could include, as I've listed here, retired individuals, legal immigrants, students, stay-at-home moms and dads, or school teachers. If you don't have a specific individual in mind right now, for example, if you're opening up a seasonal college internship position and are looking to hire high school students for customer service, write about what your hiring process will be for these jobs and what qualities you're looking for in each individual. In addition, here are some other places to source this and any staff. Start in your network. Who do you know who would fit well? There are also websites for recruiting, or you could just target job fairs at colleges. You also need to make a list of key external individuals for your business's function. These are also critical to the success of your business, and you'll contact them for certain specified tasks. People and businesses to consider would be accountants if numbers aren't your specialty, or that's not where your main interests lie, or you want to spend your valuable time you have to put in the business elsewhere. Also consider which banking institution you'll be utilizing and which insurance agent and possible attorney. Now let's move on to organizational structure text. There are several points on this slide that you'll need to cover under this section. These include how many positions are required in your business and what responsibilities are asked of each. Basically, a short job description under each. Again, you'll need to describe the characteristics you're looking for in each position, the skills, strengths that the employees should have, and their schedule during the week, and whether they'll have a full-time or part-time status. Talk about how you'll be able to afford the employees you have and if you'll use contract labor. Discuss how you'll combat and justify slow months in your business. What will you do to keep profits coming in, or how much will you need to earn in the busy months to cover salaries and operating expenses in slow months? Next up, let's talk about the operating strategies of your business. This is an outline of day-to-day operations. This needs to be as detailed and precise as possible. There's several key points here to include under this heading. And if you haven't included them elsewhere in section 2 or throughout your plan, I'm not looking for repetition under each section. If you've already said something somewhere else, very clearly, you don't need to repeat it again. Just making sure you get everything included in the most logical order for your business idea is key. So we'll quickly read down this list. First of all, who will be responsible for finances, day-to-day operations, and selling? Explain the process of selling your product or service. What are the hours of your operation? If you have a store, what time are you open? Explain how customers are contacted, served, and how payments will be made. Explain other day-to-day operation issues, staffing of slow times, busy times, ordering of a product and how it arrives, your pricing strategy and how it was derived. All these things you can include in operating strategies, and a lot of other things that I haven't listed. If they're key to your business, understanding how your business works, put them under this section. It's a great place to put them. It's going to be kind of a broad section. As long as it makes some sort of order, that would be great. Okay, the last topic of section 2 is all about critical risks. The internal risks are challenges you know will happen within the firm or will likely happen if you start this business. The reason we're spending time here is because if you understand these issues, we'll have the opportunity to think of good solutions before we encounter the problems, kind of planning ahead. Some examples are listed next on this slide. First, a full-time staff in winter months could be a critical risk for some businesses. You want to keep these great people you hired, but the business is slow and there isn't enough money to meet payroll during this time of year. If this is a problem you foresee happening, include it in this section and come up with creative solutions to combat or solve the problem. Another example is if you have only 1 to 2 main customers for your product or service. If these 1 or 2 customers decide not to do business with you anymore, then your sales volume will probably drop dramatically. What will you do if this occurs? I want you to brainstorm at least 2 critical risks and provide 2 to 3 solutions should it occur in your startup. Next up, the external critical risks can be categorized into events that happen to impact your business, but they're totally out of your control. Again, like this slide says, the main idea here is to recognize that these issues will probably come up. It's going to be a fact of life. But you know how to handle them. It's going to make a difference. And if you identify ways to combat these issues, you're going to make a huge difference. Again, for these external risks, like the internal ones, I want you to brainstorm 2 to 3 solutions for each if they were to happen. The examples I've included here would be a global recession and hail on your crop. You'll need to identify, once again, 2 to 3 external critical risks for your business and 2 to 3 solutions for each if that disaster should occur. Section 2 here corresponds to points 5, 6, and 7 on the rubric. It's on the end of this PowerPoint here, and it's also posted in Canvas. Now let's move over to an example of Section 2. In Maggie's plan here, she states first, under the management team heading, that she's starting the way a lot of businesses do. She's going to start small and work her way up. Under internal personnel, she states she's the owner, manager, and head of sales for this particular farm, which is perfectly acceptable in a small startup. You could be wearing many hats and doing a lot of different jobs to make sure the business starts the way you envision it to. Maggie also mentions how large of a role her father will play in the operation and his history and why he's qualified to work in this company and be beneficial to its growth and development. Now for external personnel, she's listed specific individuals and companies for banking, accounting, insurance, and an attorney. The operating strategies section is rather long, as you'll notice here, but that's because you'll be including a lot of details there, as she has. If I notice things are missing from this section in your plan, or you could be specific in certain explanation, more specific in certain explanations, I'll make sure to make note of that in your feedback I give you. Again, this is going to be a highly personalized section, so you won't necessarily need to include all those points in the slide or all the points Maggie's included, but whatever makes sense for your business. And finally, her critical risks are somewhat developed. I want to see at least 2 solutions for each problem you identify, sort of a plan A, plan B scenario. She only has 1 solution, I know, for this first one, but I'm going to push you a little further here and ask for at least 2. So that's a brief rundown of what Section 2 is going to include for you. And we also took a look at this example to hopefully give you some ideas for formatting and layout. So with that, we'll end this lecture.